Welcome to Marketplace with Charles. Marketplace is brought to you by Art of Skincare, the company that brings out the beauty in you, as well as Guwisa Lodge, where dreams do come true, from deep in the heart of Mabalengwe Nature Reserve, as well as Grace Farms, your #1 daily produce. I am Ketiwe Pagati. On Marketplace, we redefine your future by equipping you with tools that you need to achieve your entrepreneurial dreams. Each week, we bring you insights from experts in different fields of business, from wise men and women of great stature. On today's show, we meet Dr. LN Sondiyaza, who is a general practitioner that is deeply involved in women's health. Why are we doing that? Because entrepreneurship involves a lot of commitment to work from the entrepreneur themselves. The entrepreneur is a human being that faces challenges just like everyone else, including the health expert. It is therefore important that the entrepreneur be empowered to take good care of his and her health, because in most cases, the continuity of their business depends highly on their physical wellness. So that is why my guest today is going to talk to us about the importance of looking after your health as you continue your entrepreneurial journey. Help me welcome Dr. Sondiyaza. Hello and welcome, Doctor.
Thank you, and welcome to the viewers as well that are listening to us. Thank you for inviting me in your program.
It's a total pleasure having you, and I'm so excited you welcomed our viewers, because they are the ones that are going to be driving the conversation for us. So please introduce everybody to yourself professionally.
Okay, I am Dr. Ngobeni Sondiyaza, who is a general practitioner practicing in Thokoza, which is in the East Rand. I am also a managing director of a company called Wisno Project, which is a wellness company that empowers workspaces and communities with health-related issues.
So that means you are a winning woman. So you're the perfect person for us to find out from what are the effects on your entrepreneurial practices, right? For all entrepreneurs out there, of ill health.
Ketiwe, there is a lot. If you're an entrepreneur, you have to remain in good health. You have to remain in a sound mind, especially in times like this where we have been hit by the pandemic, where you can either be ill physically, you can either be ill mentally, because of the effect that it has. So it is good for a business person to remain in good health, to look after themselves, because if you are unwell, it will disturb your daily schedule. It will disturb your productivity. If you are unwell, you can't even focus. It affects you physically and mentally, let alone when you are at a space where you have to be admitted in the hospital, where your business is literally, they have to shut down because you are physically not there. Yes, sometimes you don't need to be physically there at your workspace, but when you are not there as the main head, there are things that could possibly go wrong. So ill health in a person who is an entrepreneur, it's definitely something that you can do your best to avoid it. Yes, it can be non-avoidable at some points, but it has a tremendous effect.
Okay, and then when it comes to stress levels, because you know the entrepreneurial space, right? It comes with its own stressors. So how does the entrepreneur then take charge of managing the stresses within their workspace?
I personally always tell people, even if you're an entrepreneur, even if you think you are as strong as, you need time to yourself. You need debriefing moments, which I always call them offloading the bucket moments, because daily stresses that will fill up your bucket. You get stressed of your everyday stress, especially when you're a woman. There's home stuff, there's work stuff. So you need to be having a place where you go to when you feel that you are fully loaded. Be it the psychologist, could it be gym? I always tell people that exercising, it's one form that can lower down your stress, and looking at what you eat. It's very, very important. The diet can help you to relieve. We know there's different foods that will help you to relieve your stress. So as an entrepreneur on its own, it's tough, it's hard, but you need to have debriefing moment. You must have play moments, I would call them. You must have play moments, work, but have time to play so that you can look back and see how things are going, to remain calm and to remain relaxed.
I love the have play moments thing, you know. I'm sure you can tell, right? I'm an entrepreneur that plays. I'm going to ask you a question about that, but I first want you to define business-related stresses so that we are able to identify them as different from, you know, the general stresses.
Business-related stresses, to me, what comes to mind, mostly it's financial stresses. It's times like COVID times, if I may keep on referring back to COVID, where the practices are open, but there is no patients that are coming through. You have to pay rentals. That alone, it keeps you awake at night. That alone, you've got employees that you need to pay at the end of the month. So their business stresses, they can actually affect you even at home, because you get home stressed, and it's because of what is happening in your surrounding, what is happening in your finances, and what is happening sometimes in your decision making, because we make decisions sometimes as business people that we think they're going to give us some good results. And when that does not happen, it affects the business. It affects you personally. It increases your stress levels. And once your stress levels has increased, nothing goes right in your business. So definitely, finance is number one. And problems with your employees, then that is another problem, because you need to work as a team. You never make a business alone. So if the team players, they are not part of your vision, that becomes a stress in your business.
I can imagine. So I want you to, as somebody who helps entrepreneurs, right, maintain stress levels and their wellness while functioning as entrepreneurs, I want you to explain to us what are acceptable levels of stress, and then at what point do you see that precaution needs to be taken for you to address the stress?
Acceptable levels of stress, Katie, where it's stresses that I always think you always have a solution to them. The solution is just that it's not immediate. You know that the decision that you have taken, as much as it's a stressful thing that is happening at that moment, but there is an end to it. You know that when you have made a certain decision, at the end of the day, it might not be at the time when you want it to be resolved. So those are the type of acceptable stresses, and stresses that push you to do well. You know, the stresses, like when I was coming here, I was nervous because I want to do well. I want to be prepared. There are stresses when you want to excel in what you are doing. That is an acceptable stress. And for you to run a business as an entrepreneur, you don't have to be too relaxed. You must put yourself under a little bit of stress, but a good stress that will make you to be productive, a good stress that will make you to achieve what you want to achieve. But you must be cautious of prolonged stresses.
Okay.
Whatever aim that you have, you must know that, okay, what I've wanted to achieve in December 2020, you must at least by December 2020 have achieved it. If it goes further, that's prolonged. So you must always be cautious of prolonged stresses, because that is definitely something that can affect you. It can even go back to affecting your health, go back to having ill health due to the stresses that you have that are not resolvable.
Okay, this is getting very exciting for me. Now, I'm a woman, you're a woman in health, I'm a woman in entrepreneurship, you're a woman in health and entrepreneurship. So this makes sense in this room, right? Talk to us about how women's unique health issues affect their opportunities within the business space.
Actually, women and men, they don't have that much of unique health issues. They have unique challenges in the entrepreneurial space. If we're talking of a woman is a mother, a woman is a caregiver, a woman is a homemaker. The same woman has to be an entrepreneur that goes into their business space and have to just perform the same way that the male counterpart has to. So when it comes to health, we get affected by the same kind of disease. We get affected by the same life stressors. Women have their cyclical moments. We as women, we have that time of the month where we get what we call PMS, premenstrual syndrome, where we get irritable, where we don't feel like talking to anybody, you don't feel like waking up and going to work, unfortunately, but you have to push yourself and do it, which is what I think it makes us to remain with the high heads, because you know there's so much pressure under you as a woman. You know there's sexism at work. So you're always at points where we have to prove ourselves when it comes to everything that you do as an entrepreneurial woman. But when it comes to health, basically we even handle sicknesses way better than men as women. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Men, they get a headache now. They just want to die same day. We sit with pain for the longest time, and we can be resilient and we can go on and push. So basically, men and women, we still not that different when it comes to illnesses.
Okay, thank you. And you just reminded me now of that play time. You mentioned something about play. We'll come back to that, but now we're going on a short break. And viewers there at home, don't you go nowhere, because after the break, we continue with my fabulous guest, Dr. Sondiyaza. It's a total pleasure to welcome you back to Marketplace with Charles, and my guest here today, Dr. Ngobeni, is still right here with us. And Ngobeni, let's go back to that question I was excited about. Please explain to us the importance of something that you call play. Is that what you call it?
Yes, playtime.
Playtime. Please take us through that and the benefits of playtime.
Playtime is taking yourself out, having a me time, booking yourself a holiday. You don't have to be going on holiday with anybody. Time where you have to be in there with your inner being, try to relax, recollect on the decisions that you have made, look at the future ahead of you. So that is a playtime. Playtime is a time where you go out with friends and forget about Monday to Friday and just zoom into that moment. Those are the times that really help you to detox, to de-stress. Booking yourself for a psychologist when there is no problem. Because what we do is we don't debrief. Debriefing is talking to a professional about your challenges that you're facing and getting advice from a stranger, which is a professional that has gone to school to teach you that. So playtime for me is a time like that where you're just looking after your mental well-being. And as a spiritual woman, playtime also means getting yourself to reconnect with your creator. Yes. Playtime is going to church. Church is not a religious event that we have to go to, but it's a time to go and refuel, to start a new week, new energy, new weight for the week. So that's playtime for me.
Let's zone in on childbirth for a little while, right? So when it comes to a woman who's an active entrepreneur within the entrepreneurial industry and mothering, what advice would you give them?
I wouldn't advise any woman to put their motherhood on hold. But what I feel should be happening, spaces, they must make it possible for women at the childbearing age to have their children be a mother while they are at work. I would really, really love a workspace where there is a place, nursery, where the mothers can come to work, be productive, knowing that your child is just around the corner, well taken care of, where on your break time you can be able to go breastfeed, not express in the toilet, workspaces that have proper nurseries that allow women during their tea time, their break time, because withholding your family time, it's something that I would not advise, especially as you grow older. Your chances of having kids, they decline. Yes, there are very few circumstances where I would advise. For example, let's say you're starting a practice, you're starting a career. These days, we've got options of egg freezing. We've got options on married women of doing embryo freezing. Keep it in the storages where your eggs can be frozen and you pay some storage fee. And those facilities are available. But in general, a conducive work environment, good support structure, very important. You can juggle between the two. It's doable. If you've got a good partner that is supporting you, you've got good helper, good family structure that is supportive of you as an entrepreneur and of you as a mother, it is possible. It is doable. You don't have to hold unless under those two circumstances you are trying to put your feet on the ground. Yes. Then once your feet are stable, then you can take off your other life. But the two can go together.
They can go together. There's somebody watching at home now, right? They're hearing you clearly. They're saying, okay, don't put it off. There's ways of doing the two together. It can work out. But at the moment, doctor, there is no conducive space or environment in my workspace that allows for me to do the breastfeeding and doing all that thing that makes it work, right? So I have the question, sitting at home now, listening to that answer, to say, what is the ideal time to hold off being a parent before I actually jump in while being aware of my entrepreneurial activities?
Okay, there is actually no ideal time. A woman in a childbearing age, if you decide, because remember, it's a personal decision. It's a personal decision. If you want to have your child at the late 30s, as I have said, for you then what you can do to make sure that by that age you are able to get the child. Remember, the older you get, your egg span, it declines. They get lesser and lesser. Then you can go and freeze your eggs, keep them at the bank. Then at the time where you feel that you are on the ground, you are stable, then you can go back and start making kids. And the most perfect age that it must not be after 40. If you want to start having kids after the age of 40, there's a whole lot of genetic issues. There's the decline itself on your chances of fertility chances. So I would advise any woman to be in touch with their gynecologist, get advice on what are the available things that you can do at the moment so that you plan your future and your life. Whether you're single or you have a partner, it's something that you can always plan and something you can juggle around in your life.
So there's a woman watching us now. They are the age of 34 years old, without giving away my age, haha. So now they want to know, is there a way of me finding out for sure what are my chances of reaching menopause or early menopause for that matter?
Okay, there is definitely no predictions. The only thing that you can associate to that, it's a family history. If you've got your immediate aunties, your immediate aunts that are around, you can tell from their age they had early menopause or are they menopausing late, but there is no for sure answer where you would know that at this age, I would be menopausing. So early menopause actually on its own, it's people that reach menopause before the age of 40 up to 45. That's what it's called, a premature menopause or early menopause, and it's an abnormal phenomenon. It's not physiological. It's an abnormal phenomenon.
So what are the stress implications then to promoting early menopause, and what can a person do to alleviate those chances?
Katie, early menopause, it's unfortunately not related to stress at all. It's completely genetic. It's a disease phenomena. It can be related to surgery, but there is no direct link between early menopause and stress at all. So a woman that reaches early menopause, it's because they have a certain disease. A woman that reaches, it's not physiological. Early menopause, it's completely not physiological. It can be genetics, as I have said. If you're looking at your family, your immediate family, whether maternal or paternal, if there is anyone around that had reached menopause before 40. So if you reach menopause at that time, it could be because of those genes. But the commonest one is disease related, where your own cells, we call it autoimmune disease, where your own cells, they fight against the ovary tissues that release hormones, either make them function abnormally or they make them, they lower their function, which would cause you to reach menopausal symptoms, which is dryness in the vagina, you get hot flashes, you get brittle bones where you can fall and just have a fracture very easily. So those are the signs of early menopause, but mostly it's a disease phenomena. And then under surgical procedures, if you've had, for example, chemotherapy or radiation around your pelvic area, because it affects your ovarian tissues, that can cause early menopause. Or if you've had hysterectomy for whatever reason, you had your womb removed and it was taken with the ovaries, then you can have early menopause, which under those cases, you would be advised, when you're having a surgery, you would be advised that these are the symptoms you must expect.
Ngobeni, before we let you go, right, because we're almost at the end of the show, out of curiosity, please help us understand the health checkups that we can come to and the frequency therewith so that we maintain our health levels as, busy entrepreneurs.
Okay. For women's health checkups, we'll start with the upper body. There's breast checkups that any woman have to know how to do their own breast exams at home, looking at yourself in the mirror and learning your body, palpating, which is touching your breast in a circular manner. Just do it 10 days after your period, because when you're a woman during the period time, you get tender breast with the tissues that can confuse you. So we always say you must know your body as a woman so that if there's anything abnormal, you can pick it up. A woman that is above the age of 35, we advise them to have a mammogram once every year. The second most important checkup for women is pap smear. Pap smear is actually advisable to have yearly pap smears. Every woman who is sexually active, it does not matter what age, a minute you start being sexually active, from 2 years after your first sexual encounter, you must have pap smears done. Those are the main commonest conditions that women they will face that can result in stresses. So they are things that you can always screen for in life. But in general, for any other disease, you can always do checkups.
And doctor, we cannot let you go without knowing, after everything you've given us now, what's the impact of all this? You've mentioned pap smear, you've mentioned annual checkups, you've mentioned PMS. What are the effects of all these health-related stresses with women when it comes to functioning as an entrepreneur?
Definitely, like we said in our first conversation, ill health will impact your business negatively, so because when you are unwell, you get diagnosed with cancer, that changes your daily life. It's a daily stress that will impact your productivity, your functionality, and everything else that is around you. But the nice thing about all those things, our healthcare system, they've got many forms of treatment. You have to consult in time. You need to seek help in time. PMS, which is irritable mood, you need to have a way of dealing with it. There are medical ways of dealing with, for example, a severe period pain. You need to make sure that you've got something that you will take before you go to work, before you get to work and you get irritable to everybody because of the pain that you are facing. So you must know your challenges and you must know how to encounter them and overcome them. Because when you get into a workspace, you need to be productive. You need to be as healthy as you can.
And with that said, Dr. Sondiyaza, we have come to the end of the show. But before I let you go, do tell the viewers at home where can they reach you to get more information and details about your assistance.
Okay, my practice is in the East Rand, as I have said, in Thokoza Township. That is just front opposite of the Thokoza Youth Center. And my company, Wisno Project, my website will be running this Friday for your wellness needs, whether it's in the community, in the church spaces, where it actually started, in the church space. That's where wellness started. And also for any other health talks that in any space are needed. So my website will be functioning from Friday. But our numbers, it's 011-860-5330. Those are the numbers for our practice in Thokoza.
And with that said, thank you so much for joining us here on Marketplace today.
Thank you, Ketiwe, and thank you to all the viewers.
There you have it for today. That was my lovely guest, Dr. Ngobeni Sondiyaza from me, Ketiwe Phakathi. Thank you so much for joining Marketplace with Charles, brought to you by Art of Skincare, as well as Gurisa Lodge and Grace Farms. With special thanks to Dr. Gordne from Smiles to Wow for enhancing our beautiful smiles, as well as L. Michaud for our great wardrobe here at home. Let us meet again next week at the same time and same place for another power-packed episode. You may want to view repeats of this program at any time by subscribing to Marketplace on our YouTube channel, which is called Charles Ngobeni. I assure you that you will not regret that decision. And do remember, you can catch the repeat right here every Wednesday morning at 1 a.m. and do find us on our website, that's charlesngobeni.com, and you may follow our Instagram, that's Charles_Ngobeni, as well as Facebook, which is Charles Ngobeni. And to get in touch with myself, my Katie, that's my Katie Speaks Live on Facebook. Until next time, see you then and God bless.